Greetings. Tonight, Bruce will be talking about the new movie, Terrifier 3. Let's see what he has to say from a Gen X point of view, shall we?
Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. I just got done watching Terrifier 3, and I'm going to give you an old Gen X guy's review of it. Now, if you've ever seen my reviews before, I don't climb up its butt with a microscope. I just tell you what I think of the movie. The whole Terrifier series, it's pretty fun to me. A few fun facts about it. My wife didn't know this. I know a lot of people do know this, especially the super fans. Terrifier 3 is not actually the third Terrifier movie. Terrifier 3 is actually the sixth film in the series. It started out in 2008. Oh, see, I should have wrote these dates down. 2008? It doesn't matter. It's a short film called The Ninth Circle, and you could find that on YouTube. Now, it's in a foreign language that I don't speak, so I didn't bother watching it. Sorry. The second one was actually called Terrifier, but it wasn't the movie Terrifier. It was another short film. I haven't found that yet, so if you do find that, leave a link in the comments so I can check it out. But then in 2013, the first movie actually came out, and that was All Hallows Eve. Now, that's online right now. I just watched that on, I don't know if it was HBO Max or if it was Prime Video, but check those two. And that's where he made his first full-length movie appearance. And then the movie Terrifier came after that. So, and then Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. So, in all total, he's made 6 appearances in different films. So, if you didn't know, now you know. So, I went into this movie with questions because yesterday I sat down, I watched all the Terrifier movies except for the short films because one I couldn't understand and the other one I couldn't find. And my question is, where do you come from? What is he? Who is he? And I've really been thinking about that. And I watched the movies 3 in a row yesterday, trying to figure it out. They don't give you a lot of information, so you have to kind of scrutinize. And I don't like scrutinizing. I just like watching the movie and having fun. But this one question's been weighing on my mind. And after we talk about this movie, I'm going to give you my opinion of where I think he actually came from, what he is, and where he may be going. And it's going to be my opinion. I don't know if these are facts or not. I don't have, connections where I can talk to people about it. No, I'm not going to be that guy. And I'm not going to pick it apart with a microscope saying everything that's wrong with it. I don't care. I like the series. So the movie starts out, and as far as spoilers go in this one, I'm going to talk about the first 20 minutes in detail, and then I'm just going to be vague about the rest. So the only spoilers you're going to get today are from the first 20 minutes, and some of them were in the previews, so it's not really going to be a big spoiler, just in case you're wondering. If I happen to come later, and after the first 20 minutes of the movie, I will tell you it's a spoiler. Well, the movie starts out, and the very first thing you're going to notice is it's Christmas time. It's not Halloween. And his killing season was always Halloween up until now. And that kind of surprised me a little bit. I did see that in the previews, but I was just surprised. And it starts up him dressed as Santa in present day. And he's going around. He was at a family's house, and this little girl thought she heard Santa Claus. A couple days before Christmas, thought she heard Santa Claus, heard noises. So talked the mother into putting a plate of cookies out. I guess the mother had her convinced it was an elf scouting out for Santa Claus to make sure the house was safe. Some story parents tell their kids. So they put out a plate of cookies, and then the little girl goes back to bed. And then a little while later, the girls still hear noises. And it turns out, of course, it's Art the Clown dressed up as Santa Claus, which was in the previews. He goes around, kills the whole family. And then I thought it was sickly funny. He sat there afterwards eating the cookies and milk just like, okay. It was funny. It was also disgusting. If you're looking for a gory movie, you found it. And I figured it was going to be a little more gorier than the last because I think that's what they're going for. They want to give gory movies. So then after that, it goes to 5 years earlier. 5 years earlier is the end of Terrifier 2. And that scene starts with a headless clown being found by a cop where they killed the clown and the little girl ran off with the head. If you haven't seen Terrifier 2, I'm sorry, there's a spoiler for Terrifier 2, but you should have seen it by now if you're watching this one. The headless corpse gets up and kills the cop, takes his head and wears his head out of there. And he goes, next thing you see him in a subway wearing the cop's head. It was disturbing, but it was also a little funny. He's on his way to go pick up Vicky, who, if you watch the end of Terrifier 2, at the very end of Terrifier 2, Vicky shot out his head. And he goes and gets Vicky and gets his head back. And, it's out there. It's out there. It's disgusting. It's gory, and I love it. So he gets his head back, kills a few people, I'm sure. And then he goes back to, I don't know if it was asylum. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but it was definitely an abandoned building. And they both go up to the attic, and he sits down in a chair next to a window. And the thing about that window is, I wish I had a picture of it. The window looked like the windows from Amityville Horror, the original Amityville Horror movie. They go at a right degree angle, then they curve down. And he sat there and just stared out the window. Now, while he's staring out the window, Alice gets in the bathtub and slits her own wrist and offs herself. I'm sorry, why did I say Alice? Who the hell's Alice? Vicky gets in the bathtub and she slits her wrist and offs herself. Why did I say Alice? There's no Alice in this movie. I don't know. And then so that's it. Art's just sitting there looking out the window. Vicky offed herself in the bathtub. And it fades to, it says, a caption comes up, back to today's time, current day, I think it said. And it goes to a scene where Sienna's back. She's moving in to stay with her aunt and uncle, I guess. And it goes to a scene where Art never left that chair for 5 years. He sat there. Some construction people come in and they found him just sitting there, cobwebs all over him. They found him and they found the dead girl in the bathtub at the same time. And, of course, they came back to life, killed them guys. And then the movie actually began. The last scene I'm going to do in detail is the one after that where Art's going around doing his thing. He's still carrying his little bag. He spots a Santa Claus sitting in a bar, someone dressed up as Santa Claus. And so he goes in the bar and he doesn't talk, but he's, hanging out with the Santa Claus and everything like that. And it starts off funny. They're both sitting there just having a good old time. Santa Claus is into it, pretending to be Santa Claus and buy a round of drinks and everything like that. Next thing you know, what's going to happen. Art's going to do the Art thing and froze him. He had a freeze gun. He made a freeze gun out of I think they show him making a freeze gun. He made the freeze gun out of a fire extinguisher and maybe some liquid nitrogen. I think that's the only way that would actually work. It was disturbing. It was very disturbing. And that's the last scene I'm going to talk about in detail. This is just stuff this is what hooked me. And this is only in the first 21 minutes. There was another scene whenever he was walking into the house where he sat in the chair I told you about. And Vicky was next to him, and Vicky had the horn that he usually carries. And Vicky's just like playing with the horn, and she goes like this into Art's ear, and he just like started getting really annoyed. Kind of humanized him a little bit. I thought it was funny. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm sick. Who knows? Now, within the first 20 minutes, I'm sitting there watching it, and, I was actually a loser. I went by myself. I was sitting there all by myself. I had this shirt on, too. Because I really like horror movies. Probably about 15, 20 minutes into it, this lady gets up, and she's, like, sobbing, like, literally crying. And I looked at her, and she's probably about, if I had to guess, probably about 30. And she had 2 kids with her, and she's making them leave, and she's, like, crying, going down the aisle out the door. And I'm like, I've never seen it. I've heard about people walking out of movies before, but I've never actually seen it. And I got to think about this lady walking out of the movie theater with her 2 kids. It's a Terrifier movie. What did you think? That he was going to be up there singing like nursery rhymes or something? Maybe the old Bozo the Clown show where he's making you laugh? No, it's a splatter movie. And this series has been getting gorier and gorier ever since the first Terrifier movie, which is All Hallows Eve. It's supposed to be gory. It's supposed to be gross. And why are you taking your kids to a rated R movie? R means restricted. It's like, I think, isn't that under 17? No, that'd be NC-17. NC-17 is under 17, not admitted without a guardian or something like that. Rated R is restricted. I think you have to be over 17 or 18 to see it, don't you? I don't know. They changed the rules so much since I used to go to movies a lot. Now I just watch movies here in my shop. But yeah, this lady actually left crying, and I'm like, wow, I've heard about it happening. In fact, they said in the opener a couple people left in the first 10 minutes. Come on, it wasn't that bad. And what do you expect? If you've seen Terrifier and Terrifier 2, you know it's going to be gory. You know he's going to do some sick stuff. But it's a movie. It's just a splatter film. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. We had splatter films all the time. It was no big deal. I've seen really gory ones. I've seen ones that weren't gory. Doesn't matter to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a psycho or something. But anyway, okay, as far as rating the movie, I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. It measured up to what I was expecting from a Terrifier sequel. It was good. I don't want to give any more spoilers. I promise not to. But if you like these kind of movies, then yeah, you're gonna love it. It's very gory. Not gonna lie. There's no getting out of that. It is very gory, but it's supposed to be. It's a Terrifier movie. It's not like a brand new movie that we've never heard of. No, it's the third sequel, so out of the 6 movies. Yes, we all know it's going to be gory. Enough said about that. I do like that the rest of the plot and everything worked out well. It was kind of believable. Sienna's back, of course. I think I mentioned that. Her brother's back. The guy with the weird neck. My wife makes fun of me because I kept calling him Neck Boys. His character's name was Jonathan. I don't worry about the actors anymore. I just watch the movie. Doesn't matter who's playing what part. There's a lot of actors I can't stand, but I'll still watch the movies they're in. Let's see. That's a spoiler, so I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah, check it out if you like these kind of movies. But now I want to talk about where I think Terrifier came from and what he is. Because that's been the big question. Did they answer it in this movie? Well, they kind of touched on it, which is why I'm going to have the opinion I'm about to give you. Did they definitively say this is what he is, where he came from, and all that stuff? No, not really. Not really. What I think, watching all the movies from, not the short films, but the movies through, okay, we know Art the Clown started out as a serial killer. That's a given. He was a serial killer and a real person. And I think he was just that evil that when he got killed, I feel a demon took over his body, resurrected him, but it wasn't Art. I think he might have been possessed with this demon using this fresh body that just died, which is why after that he couldn't be killed. I mean, you saw the big hole in the back of his head, missing his eyeball. What's he do? He cuts a guy, takes his eyeballs, and looks fine in the next scene. All the damage he's taken and everything like that when you think he's dead, but he's not. Even getting his head cut off. I mean, obviously a human cannot come back from that. But maybe a demon can. It's a really weird way how they did it, but yeah. Now, as far as the little girl in Terrifier 2, you don't see her in Terrifier 3, but you do see Vicky. Now, I'm thinking that the little girl who was proved to be a ghost in Terrifier 2, because you could see at the laundromat when he's doing his clown suit, the guy sitting at the entrance who fell asleep, he woke up and Terrifier and Art and the little girl were playing patty cake. But then it goes to the guy, and he looked, and all he saw was Art playing patty cake with himself. So that proved right there it was a ghost. They also evaded to the fact that was his first victim that he killed at that carnival. And if you read that newspaper clipping in Terrifier 2, it explains a little bit more where that girl actually came from families that worked at the circus, carnival, whatever you want to call it. And they even mentioned work closely with mimes and clowns. None of that's been divulged. That's the only thing I'm going to do with a microscope, I promise. But I happen to pick that up, which is kind of what makes me think about that girl. So I think her being his first victim, maybe somehow the demon made her latch onto him as like a familiar, kind of like Dracula does with Renfield. Like I said, this is all my opinion. I'd like to know what you think, though. Also, Vicky. Why do I keep wanting to call her Alice? It doesn't make any sense. Vicky was a survivor who I'm pretty sure she got possessed. She had the glowing yellow eye, just like the little girl did, and just like Terrifier Art the Clown had in the first movie. I don't think I've seen him have those glowing eyes since then, though. But yeah, the little girl had the glowing eyes, and the Vicky eventually had the glowing eyes after she gave birth to his head. That scene was just disturbing. But yeah, the little girl wasn't in this movie. And that's it. So yeah, I think he's a demon, and that's why he can keep coming back. There is supposed to be a sequel next year. I don't know if you knew that or not. I was reading, don't know anything about it, but I was reading. I'm pretty sure it said 2025. So that might be a spoiler for the ending for you guys. Not going to talk about anything else. Like I said, my review is I'm going to give it about an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to for the next one, if there is one. That's what I think about it. Now, keep in mind, I haven't looked at a single review online. As soon as I'm done editing this video, I'm going to go look and see what other people think. I hate watching reviews before I see a movie. I like to watch the movie and make my own decision. And that's what I'm trying to do tonight. So, hey, that's me talking about movies. I'm going to cut it now, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Well, that was interesting. Make sure to like and subscribe before you go. And remember, makeup doesn't work well on an AI narrator. Bye for now.
It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.